Well, the draft is just around the corner, and I have an expert joining me, folks. Rafael Barlowe of the NBA Big Board, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. He joins me next to discuss all the Warriors' options, who they might draft, who they should draft, and so much more. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow Rafael Barlowe. He hosts the NBA Big Board. He's the Locked On Podcast Network draft expert. Follow him on Twitter at Barlowe500, BARLOWE 500. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Twitter at DogSurfRocho. Rafael, it is so great to see you, man. I know you're an incredibly busy person. This is your busy time of year, so I can't thank you enough, man. We're recording this on Saturday morning, June 17th at approximately 9 a.m. Pacific time. The NBA draft is 5 days away. Rafael, it is great to see you. How have you been since the last time you've been on? It's been at least a year, I think. And what are your first thoughts on – we'll start with this. What do you think the Warriors – will do on draft day? Are they trading up? Are they trading down? Are they keeping the pick? Obviously, it's a guess, but how are you doing, and what's your early prediction?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a busy time of year. I'm actually headed to New York tomorrow to be my first draft experience, and so I'll be there, pretty much all week. And then I trying to turn into a family trip also. So my wife and my son, who's 11 months old, is coming, and then my 13-year-old niece is coming on the trip. So trying to mix it in. I got like this guilty thing. I mean, I've only been married not even 2 years, and we got a baby. And there's part of me that feels guilty when I'm like traveling and I'm leaving my wife with the baby. Like I went to Paris this year to watch Wembanyama, then I went to the Combine and so on. So I'm like, you know what, let's just turn this into a family trip, and hopefully I can get something done.
There you go. And I'd honestly, man, I feel guilty if all my trips were to like Hawaii. I could understand that, but you know, you're working, you're grinding, dude. It's all good. Yeah. So what do you think the Warriors are going to do, man? Like, I mean, I know this could be just an entire guess. Maybe you've heard some things. I don't know. But what do you think the Warriors are doing first and foremost? Do you think they're going to be staying in 19, trading up, trading down? What does your gut tell you, if nothing else?
Well, first thing, I think Jonathan Kuminga is gone. And so I think that is a real possibility.
Yeah.
And then I just don't know if you package Kuminga and 19 and, you know, some other fillers for like some front court help, or are you looking to trade Kuminga for another draft pick? I don't know. I mean, it's so many options there. And that's why I kind of wish like the draft was after free agency. So you kind of have a better idea, like, is Draymond coming back or so on. So and then, you know, it's a new general manager. I mean, there's some minor changes there, but it's a new general manager. So it's probably a new philosophy, even though it sounds like Dunleavy is probably going to just, just try to do things similar to the way things have been done. So I guess I didn't give you a great answer to your question, but I just think there's so many options and things that can happen. But I do think that they're going to trade Kuminga. I just don't know if 19 is going out with them.
Do you like the idea of the Warriors trading Kuminga? I personally think he's a phenomenal talent. I think he could, under the right circumstances, he could be a star, if not a superstar in this game. I don't understand why the Warriors drafted him if what they wanted from him was to be a secondary role piece at this stage of his career. I get it in his rookie season. By the end of his second season, when he's showing tremendous progress, I don't get it so much. Why draft the kid if this is how you want to treat him? What are your thoughts on Kuminga, man? Like, is it smart for the Warriors to trade him? Do you like him? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think he went to a weird situation to where he was a high draft pick that was raw. I mean, we knew that he was raw coming in, At that time, the G League Ignite season was extremely short. It was during, I guess, like the COVID time. And then he didn't play a whole lot of high school basketball. So I feel like they knew that this was a major developmental piece that was going to take some time. But he was just in a weird situation because he needed minutes to develop, but also was on a team that was competing for a championship. And the Warriors, I mean, they're doing the right thing by trying to maximize Steph and Clay and all those guys' window. I think it would be a wise decision to trade him if they can get, some real front court help. So just off the top of my head, I'm thinking Indiana would have an interest. They really need some help at forward, and maybe there's some type of package for Kuminga and 19. But then again, the Pacers have 4 of the first 32 picks. I don't know if they want to add another pick, but maybe there's some type of package for Kuminga and Miles Turner. I mean, I think that would be a win. I don't know how it can happen. I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know if I think the Thunder would have an interest, but I don't know if there's anything that the Warriors would want back that the Thunder have. Maybe even Washington. I mean, Washington, they look like they're going to be going through a big rebuild. I know I just saw some reports of Bradley Beal going to Washington. I don't know how that works. I'm sorry, Bradley Beal to the Warriors, but I don't know how that works considering
right.
gazillion dollars, and then the Warriors payroll would be like $1 billion. I'm joking, but
and I don't know. Well, no, but you're right. I mean, and I don't know how Bradley Beal would. I mean, I don't know if he's what they need. All their problems last year were defensive. Their problems last year with size. And is Bradley Beal the answer? I've heard some of that speculation too. It seems weird to me, but sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, maybe there's some type of deal where it's like Kuminga and whatever for Porzingis, but I think it would have to be some type of sign and trade, or Porzingis would have to opt in. I mean, I'm trying to think of some other teams that would have an interest, but it's like you got to have an interest, but then you got to have something that the Warriors would need. And I'm just assuming that the Warriors will want some front court depth, just because there may be some uncertainty with Draymond. But even if Draymond comes back, I think some front court depth would be helpful. But desperately needed. Yeah, I mean, even with Draymond, they're thin. I mean, they have virtually nothing outside of him and Kevon Looney, and that's it. I mean, that's literally it. And Draymond Green is 6'5" last I checked. So calling him a big is always a stretch in my humble opinion. One of my sources told me earlier this week that, and this all started with Jonathan Givney of ESPN, publishing that little snippet in his latest mock draft under the Warriors pick that they're looking to trade up. And it was it was definitely eyebrow raising because he included the part about Jonathan Kuminga maybe being traded. That is not so eyebrow raising given the way he was used this last year. And just how Kerr, I feel like if Kerr trusted him and liked him, we would be seeing him play. So it doesn't shock me that he's on the trade market, but I hope they get something good back. But regardless. But my point is, we saw the report that they might want to trade up, which seemed kind of weird. I made some calls, and what I heard is that the Warriors are really interested in Ausar Thompson. He has caught their eye, and that if they make a trade up, that's who they want to trade up for. He does make sense. I mean, he in a lot of ways, he's the antithesis of Jonathan Kuminga. You're not drafting him necessarily for scoring. You're drafting him for from what I've read on scouting reports, he's a tremendous off-ball. He's tremendous in terms of moving off the ball. Solid rebounder, defender, especially given his size. I've had other draft, experts tell me that the comparison could be Andre Iguodala, although he's a rookie. But anyways, your thoughts on Ausar Thompson maybe going to the Warriors, and what are your thoughts on Ausar? I don't like it. I think you might as well just keep Kuminga. We're talking about a guy that is a gifted athlete. He is a 2-time MVP of the Overtime Elite League, but OTE is such a unknown commodity because they just finished their second season, and it's basically like he's gone from high school to the NBA in a sense. Even though he's already 20 years old, I think the learning curve is going to be steep. It's probably going to be steeper than Kuminga's was, because at least Kuminga played in the G League, which has
right.
I mean, the Ignite were new at that time, but it was the G League, and it was, I mean, they were heavily scouted. And so to me, that would be really weird, especially considering that Thompson really struggles as a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a guy that shot below 70% from the foul line, 30% on jumpers, around 30% from three, in like a high school setting. So I think that it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to like adjust. To me, this is more so of if they were to make this, it would be a long-term deal. I don't see a situation where he helps them out right now.
That's how I see it too. Well, part of the benefit of that would be with Kuminga. I mean, you're starting to creep up on these extensions. I mean, he's about a year away from those discussions. Whereas if you trade him for an Ausar Thompson type who you can, develop at least offensively, who can maybe contribute a little bit defensively. And it sounds like who the Warriors want is someone who's okay with taking on roles that don't involve them being a focal point of an offense, them getting significant minutes. I mean, Kerr's, it sucks to, in my opinion, it sucks that they have to acquiesce to what Kerr wants, because what Kerr wants, a lot of players don't fit that bill. And so you're really limited with your roster construction. But this is the situation they're in. And so I figure that's why the Ausar thing came up, is because he's more of an individual who would accept the lesser role without being upset about it. Maybe, I don't know, that, and the contract part of it, where he'd be in year 1 versus year 3. That's the logic. Who knows? I don't know. Did you like? But so why is, if based on what you said, then why is Ausar projected to go so high? I know Amon's projected to go even higher, but what about Ausar do you like?
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'7", 7-foot wingspan, really good athlete, a good passer. I don't think there's that much of a difference between him and his twin brother. I think Amon is probably a better athlete, but that's because Amon, like, I think day one, Amon is probably one of the top 3 to 5 athletes in the NBA. Now, maybe Ausar.
Wow.
I mean, he's phenomenal athlete. Like, if you can just watch his highlights, it's like effortless athletics. It's literally like Vince Carter mixed with Stacey Augmon. Just how
Jesus, real
flexible and it's just weird. Like, it's like when they used to call Stacey Augmon Plastic Man, because how he could contort his body. It's that type of athleticism, but it's very effortless and easy. And I think Ausar's, he'd be one of the top, let's say, 20 athletes. But he can pass the ball. He is he rebounds. He's a better shooter than Amon, but is not like a good shooter by any means. So yeah, the Iguodala comparisons are fair. I just don't know if a young Iguodala without 2 years of experience at Arizona helps Golden State right now.
Right. Right. Well, that's there you go. So there are, first of all, describing as one of the most athletic individuals entering the NBA. I feel like whoever gets him is stoked. I love the Stacey Augmon reference, by the way. It made me think of the old Running Rebels, man. Those Jerry Tarkanian teams, man. That one UNLV team was just, that was, I don't know. You got me definitely thinking about that. When we come back, sorry, go ahead. What's up?
I was gonna say they had 2 really good teams. Just one of them lost to Duke.
You're right. Good point. Yeah, the one that lost to Duke, actually, some were saying was better, but like they didn't win the title, right? Yeah, the Larry Grandmama and all that. Yeah, that was a hell of a team, hell of an era in college basketball, because back then people stayed. Anyways, we'll have a lot more to talk about, because I'm very curious to pick Rafael Barlowe's mind when it comes to who could be available if the Warriors keep the 19th pick. I mean, that's also a strong possibility. First, got to give some love to PrizePicks. Let me get the banner for that. One of our longtime sponsors, one of the sponsors I love mentioning because it's a lot of fun. I almost swore right there. We're recording this again a lot earlier than I normally do. Rafael, you're a host here as well. What do you love about PrizePicks? So what do you talk about when PrizePicks comes up on your copy?
It's daily fantasy made easy. You just pick 2 to 6 players and you just go against their projections. It's not against you or it's not against your friends. It's just the projections available and the money's fast. And you get it fast. Yeah, so it's basically daily fantasy made easy.
And the money fast is a massive perk because a lot of these other websites you use, you might have to deal with sketchy wire services to get your money, massive like penalties to get money back. It's fast and it's easy with PrizePicks, as Rafael just mentioned. And if you're in California, which is where a lot of Dub Nation is, it's legal. So when we're doing the FanDuel reads, it hurts because I want to play FanDuel and we don't have that in California, but we do have PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made easy. You can win a lot of money. It's all about over-unders with individuals. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit 50, 25, whatever it is, they will match it. So when you start playing, you got double the money you put in. But don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Every dayers, we actually will not have another show until Tuesday or Wednesday because of travel. It's summer. But follow the program on Twitter at Locked On Dubs. This is where we post all our show times, our upcoming guests. And make sure you follow Rafael Barlowe on Twitter at Barlowe500, BARLOWE 500. What's the 500, Rafael? What's the reason for that number?
Oh man, it's back when I was a kid. My dream car was a S500.
There you go. There you go, man. That's a
yeah.
I just watched Ford versus Ferrari again on the TV the other day. I love that movie, man. I don't know if sounds like you're a car aficionado. So, so Rafael, the Warriors have the 19th pick. They're probably going to have a lot of options. I went with Jalen Hood, Tofino. I hope I pronounced his name right. Maybe I don't know if I did actually. How do you pronounce it? Jalen Hood?
Jaffino,
thank you.
Yep.
That's what I went with for the mock draft because he fell to 19. I was a little surprised. If you're doing the mock draft thing, who do you have the Warriors getting a 19 and describe this player?
Actually, I've had Hood Schifino mocked to the Warriors a few times when I've done mocks, and I think that he is an easier fit because he's a bigger point guard at 6'5". He's really good at attacking like drop coverages. He's a good passer. I think that he could come in and fit. Man, I've done so many of these mocks. On the last one I did, I had the Warriors selecting, I want to say I had them selecting a guard. So one of the names that I thought would be good for them earlier in the process was Derek Lively, but I think he's shooting up. But Same. I would honestly, I think I would go with Noah Clowney from Alabama.
Okay.
He provides some size. I think there's promise as a shooter. Even though the shooting numbers weren't great, he did show that he can knock down some shots. And so I think that he could be a person that comes in and provides some size. If not for him, then I've heard some rumors that they may be looking to move Jordan Poole.
Right.
And so if Poole is on the move, then you would replace him with another guard or maybe even a wing like a Maxwell Lewis, a guy that I think is really good. Max is probably one of the more gifted offensive players in this class. The concern or the knock on him is that he went to Pepperdine, and Pepperdine was just bad. I don't even know if they won like 20 games in the last 2 years he was there. And some games he missed some time his freshman year, but they were just bad. So there are some knocks about him as a defender. But I've also talked to people that say, well, maybe he just wasn't held accountable, and maybe he has the physical tools to be a defender. And so I think the only reason why he could fall into the Warriors' range is because there are some teams that may feel like this is a guy that is talented, but just put up good numbers on a really bad team. So, you know, in this process, he's just going to have to prove to teams that he's not a empty stat guy.
Right,
but I think he can help because I think he's ready to come in as a shooter right away. Leonard Miller would be intriguing. Leonard Miller played for the Ignite, and my Leonard Miller story is he was at the Combine last year, and he was the worst player at the Combine. He was awful. I mean, he was raw, but you saw some flashes of where like he would get a rebound and he outlet the ball and make some reads. And when I watched him prior to last year's Combine, he played like, think Rhode Island Lamar Odom as like this 6'10" playmaker, passer, not like a super crazy athlete, but just fluid and natural skills. And then with the Ignite, he had a totally different role. Obviously, they had Scoot Henderson and they have Sidi Sissoko, who's also good with the ball in his hands. So he played this role as like a rim finisher, a rebounder. And I mean, I think he averaged like, off the top of my head, I want to say averaged like 17 and 10 for the Ignite this year. Very good timing and touch around the rim as far as like getting offensive rebounds. But he's 6'11". He's skilled. He can handle. He can pass. Some concerns about the shot because it's kind of got like a little funky release, but he's a good free throw shooter, so I think the shooting can develop there. And we didn't get a chance to see like the playmaking skills, only like small flashes. I think there was a couple games where guys got injured where he played as a playmaker. But I think if you can put that all together, and what I really like about Miller was that, and this is without a doubt, in the second half of the Ignite season, he was their best prospect by a long shot. He was a lot better than Scoot Henderson. Scoot took his foot off the gas after All-Star break.
Wow.
But Leonard Miller in March averaged like 22 points, 13 rebounds. I was at a game against the Texas Legends. I live in Dallas, where Leonard Miller had 20 points and 20 rebounds. So he's someone that I think could be really, really good. Pull up the stats for you. I had him. In March, Leonard Miller, 22 points, 12.9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1.7 blocks. And now listen to this. 64, 58, 90 shooting splits.
Wow.
At 6'11". So this is, again, it's a small sample size because it is like 1 month.
Right.
But he was very, very productive, and I think he was trending in the right direction. I think he'll be available to the Warriors at that range.
And this is I mean, I'm just any comparison to Lamar Odom. I mean, Odom was like a instrumental piece for those Laker title teams. I mean, so when we come back, there's a few names I wanted to throw at you just because, you know, I'm observing all these different mock drafts, and there's like 4 or 5 different names that are synonymous with the Warriors in the draft. And I want to get your thoughts on that to wrap this show up. I want to first give some love to another sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network, and that is Ibotta, which is all about saving money, getting cash back on shopping. And you know, so when you're doing your grocery shopping, school shopping, whatever you're doing, get a little something back for yourself. I mean, you're already spending money. You want to get some cash back, and that's what Ibotta does for you. Right now, Ibotta is offering your listeners $5 just for trying it out. Simply use the code LOCKED, LOCKED, when you register. Just go to the app or the Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use the code LOCKED, LOCKED. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play or App Store, and use the code LOCKED, LOCKED.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making the Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. Rafael Barlowe is free and available on Twitter. Follow him there at Barlowe500, BARLOWE 500. Okay, so just wrapping the show up here. a few names I've seen linked to the Golden State Warriors, depending on whose mock draft you're reading. One name that I've seen, and his name is moving up in the draft, and I'm probably going to butcher his last name. He's a local product, played at Santa Clara, and this is guard Brandon Podziemski. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he is someone that, like, late last summer, someone reached out to me and was like, man, you got to check this kid out. He had a really good tour. Santa Clara went on like a European tour, and I looked and like, oh man, he barely played at Illinois. I think he played like 3 minutes a game or something like that. Just like, whatever. And he was really good. He doesn't pass the eye test. Like, when you look at him, like if you went to a gym and you saw like the Thompson twins or like 90% of the guys in the lottery, you're automatically going to pick them over Podziemski. And not because he's white. He just does not fit the part. But man, you put him on the court, you put 9 other guys on the floor, put some lights on and some fans, he's going to be productive. He's an excellent rebounder. Like, he is, in my opinion, the best guard rebounder in this class.
Wow. And
I read that he played as a big when he was growing up. So it kind of shows, I guess, maybe that's why he has the rebounding instincts. But this season, he averaged 19.9 points per game, 8.8 rebounds as a guard, 3.7 assists, shot 43% from the floor, 48% from the field. And at the combine, it was big for him because he didn't get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament. And so this was like his opportunity to go against like some of the best athletes or just the best players in this draft class. And he stood out. I mean, he made the right reads. He knocked down shots. So I thought he really helped himself. I think he went from maybe mid-second round pick to, I think he's definitely could be someone that goes maybe in the late teens or in the 20s or in the 30s. But I think he's put himself in position to be a first-round pick.
That's there you go. So that's the analysis on him. I've been wondering about him. That's the most description I've heard. On a personal note, I totally understand the whole idea of, learning how to rebound, coaches playing you out of position down low. Like when I was a kid and I was going through my chubby kid phase, coaches would do that. I'm like, I don't want to play forward. I hate forward. But because I was chubby, they just immediately thought, oh, you can go down there and you can rebound. And it drove me crazy, but it made me a better rebounder. A few other names real fast. And I'll just throw these out collectively. You tell me what your thoughts are. I mentioned Chris Murray, Keegan Murray's twin brother, because some Warrior fans like the idea of Chris maybe being NBA ready, maybe emulating his brother. So some people are talking about him. I've heard Ben Shepherd possibly going to the Warriors, Jet Howard, Juwan's son. And one final player, I'll leave it on this, is Kobe Buffkin out of Michigan. Those are some names I've heard linked to the Warriors. Your thoughts? Do any of them stick out to you? We'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, what was the first one you mentioned?
The first one was I'm so sorry, man. It was I mentioned Chris Murray, and then before him, Ben Shepherd out of Belmont. I've heard some good, because he's an older player, so some people feel like he might be able to fit in right away, considering he was a senior last year.
Yeah, actually like the Chris Murray situation. One, because let's say he's 75% of his twin brother Keegan.
Right.
At that pick at 19, that is great value. And another reason why I think he would be good for the Warriors, and it may not be like the best long-term prospect,
right,
but if you're just thinking like right now that can come in and contribute, is yes, he'll be 23 on opening night. So that's significantly older than some of the players in this class. I mean, we got guys that are like 18.
Right.
But he's ready to contribute, and you're going to get him in like the early stages of his prime years while he's on a rookie deal.
Yeah.
So that is beneficial. I mean, you look at like Kuminga, for example. By the time Kuminga's in his prime, he's going to be on like his third contract. So with Murray, I mean, once his rookie deal is over, he'll be like 27. So you have him at like 26, 27 years old, making, the money that you pay a 19th pick. So I think you get a lot of bang for your buck there. And again, maybe the upside is not as high as somebody else, but I think he's going to be good. Again, if he's 75% of Keegan Murray, we're talking about a guy that's probably going to play 10, 12 years. He's a good defender. He can knock down open shots. And I think that, I mean, if you're looking at an immediate approach, not often do you get a guy at 19, especially as the draft gets younger and younger, that can come in and contribute right away. And I think Murray would be a good fit for Golden State.
Yeah, no, that makes sense considering, Joe Lacob a couple years ago with the number 14 pick, he wanted Chris Duarte, and he's in control now, even though I know Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the GM, but even Adrian Wojnarowski reported that, when it comes to big decisions, they're still got to run it through Joe. And Joe loved Duarte, and Duarte was 24 his rookie year. So I don't think the age thing will scare the Warriors off in that regard. That's a great point. I mean, just the fact that you're getting someone who's much more NBA ready, yet playing on a rookie deal while contributing, that for the Warriors, that has to come into play. So good point, man. Promote away. What do you got? Go ahead.
Kuminga for Duarte. Maybe Kuminga for Duarte. You can swap them out. That's realistic. I do think that's a possibility.
Yeah. I can't thank you enough, Rafael. You've got a brilliant basketball mind. I respect it tremendously. I can't thank you enough for taking any time out of your busy schedule, especially during draft season. The draft is coming up. It's this Thursday, June 22nd. And for the Warriors, this is a big one because there might be trades. Even if they make the pick, it could be an instrumental pick. Rafael, promote away, man. What do you got going on yourself? How can people follow you? Just mention everything you got going on, please.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, and thanks for accommodating my crazy schedule. I know it's Saturday morning. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning for you. So you got to turn on your podcast personality. So I totally
yeah.
So, NBABigBoard.com. It's the website. It's the newsletter. I'll be dropping, by the time this airs, I'll have my updated mock draft with some rumors and intel in that. And then there's the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, which is 5 days a week. And then I'll be in New York, so I have some content from New York. Still got to figure out how we're going to do it on draft night. I don't know if I got to be in the hallway at the Barclays Center or whatever, but we'll see. But yeah, you definitely have some content from the draft and maybe some interviews and reactions from players.
I love it, man. This early in the morning, I got cobwebs. I'm still trying to shake out, but no, I understand. You are so busy, and I can't thank you enough again for coming on. If the Warriors do make some sort of huge blockbuster deal that involves a draft pick or if they move up and you're free, I'd love to get you back on, but totally understand if you're slammed. And regardless, I can't thank you enough again. Follow Rafael Barlowe on Twitter at Barlow500. Folks, thank you so much. We'll be back at this on either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on my travel schedule. It is summer. Rafael, thank you. Everyone, thank you. And we'll be back at this soon. Until then, take care, everyone.